All right, well, on opening night of the CPCA action, of course, Wiley vet Ray Mitzwing stealing the show. Maddie coming here to maybe steal the sports show from us.
Hey.
But yeah, you have more action on day 2.
Yeah, that's right. Like you said, Ray Mitzwing stealing the show on night 1. And last night, another well-known face was better than the rest. We'll start off in heat number 7. Two-time defending champion Vern Nolan looking to make some noise off barrel number 1.
Horn sounds and the charge is underway. A quick start for Jamie Labicane and holds Powder River as he bursts into the front end. But look who's coming off that number 1 barrel. Vern Nolan and Bobcats sheet metal, number 1 in the industry. Right now, his rail advantage might pay off, but Jamie Labicane holds Powder River sails, charges into that front end, and now the rail pays off for Vern Nolan and Bobcats sheet metal.
The Rocket opens up a wagon and a half lead on Jamie Labicane along the backstretch. As they round the final turn, Nolan is well in control of the race heading home.
They are southbound and down in the Heating Solutions home stretch, but at the PWM steel finish line, Vern Nolan hangs on for the win.
It's a 1:15.96 for Nolan, putting him in the top spot of the night with only heat 8 remaining. Chris Molly looking for a repeat performance from day 1, but Lane Bremner in his checkered wagon had other ideas going off the money barrel.
Horn sounds and the charge is underway as heat number 8 explodes through the barrels, and they're flying off that 2-barrel with Chris Molly, PWM Steel taking the early lead. But the rail stealer is Lane Bremner. It is Lane Bremner. Guides them into that 3rd turn, not giving up an inch to Chris Molly and his PWM Steel as they round into that 4th and final turn. And here they come to the wire. It is none other than Lane Bremner. Denico Aggregates that sets the pace to the PWM Steel finish line.
It's a wire-to-wire finish for the 31-year-old who takes the final heat of the night with a time of 1:16.53. Now taking a look at the aggregate after day 2, Ray Mitzwing still holding on to that top spot with a 2:32.78. Vern Nolan right on his tail with a 2:33.67, and brother Shane rounds out the top 5 with a 2:34.45. Now we send it back to Kyle Gallagher in the CPCA panels. They get us ready for day 3.
Thanks, Matt. Yes, the panel is back for day 3, and I didn't think it was possible, but I am definitely sweatier today. And we're also looking pretty good, pretty in pink. The Women of the Wagons was holding a fundraiser for the Saskatchewan Children's Hospital, and we decided to get in the spirit by wearing pink. Andrew's got a bit of an off pink, while Moses is definitely bright, looking like a Starburst. Guys, thanks for being back here.
Awesome being back again.
All right, so let's start off with Vern Nolan. He picked up day money yesterday, moved back into the top 4. He's only 2 points ahead of Brian, but he is in that top 4. So just, Andrew, do you see him holding on to that spot?
I do see him holding on. Let's remember on day 1, I'm the one that told you that he was going to be the guy that comes into that top 4. Vern last night was the top driver, posted its 2nd fastest time overall. I think this is a guy that's going to stay in that top position, 2-time defending champion. How could you not pick this guy to keep coming back and being there? He's coming off 2 and 3. I think he's locked in that next 4, the last 4.
And Moses, Vern's holding down the 4th spot, but he does have 2 wily vets nipping at his heels. Brian and Ray both just outside. Both have 1 and 2 for the remaining days. So just out of those guys, who do you think has the best chance?
I'm going to have to go with Ray Mitzwing. I might have jinxed Brian Labicane a few times saying, you know what, I think he'll do well. I'm going to have to go with the Chief, and the reason why is he's been fantastic, taking up not only the day money, but also posting a pretty good time as well. Taking the lead in the aggregate, I don't see him losing that. I see him winning it, and I see him in the championship dash come Sunday.
And now when it comes to the top 10 and the Calgary Rangeline Derby for next year, it's pretty much 3 guys competing for 2 spots. That's BJ Carey, Dave Galloway, and Jim Knight. So just out of those 3, which one do you think it gets in?
I think BJ Carey's a lock to get into this. He definitely has the point lead. I think he has the experience. Last year he came in, he was the top driver, but has fallen off. He's had a lot of horse problems this year, and we all know that. I think this is a guy, though, he's going to come back. He's going to be fine the next 2 nights. He's going to be coming up 1 and 2, I believe. I think he's going to be the guy. He has such a huge point lead. There's no reason not to pick him to go to Calgary next year.
I want to go with Dave Galloway. I really like the guy. I really think he's the one that would grab that final spot, that 10th spot. I think BJ has already kind of solidified his cementing his place in Calgary for next year. But one of the things that Dave has, told me over the week was, you know what, I have to ride clean. I have to be decent, because if you look at the track, the guys are running pretty fast, and Jim Knight's not too far behind. So I still think he'll hold him off for an extra day. I think Dave grabs that final spot.
All right, and on day one, none of us got the day money correct. Yesterday, I got it correct, so you guys have a chance to redeem yourself here. Who's winning day money on day 3?
I'm going with another guy who likes to wear pink. I'm going with Chris Molly off number 3. If you remember from Calgary, he rode the Chick Wagon, nice pink. I'm going with Chris Molly.
Ray Mitswing, what can you say about the guy? He's done well, aggregate lead. Why not add some more cash to his stash?
And I am going to go with local guy, Mr. BJ Carey. He's going off the 1 barrel in Heat 6, and I think he might be the dark horse winner of day money today. But as per usual, we will have all the reaction from the track and some highlights coming up for you tonight on Newcap Sports.
The Lloydminster Bobcats open up their main camp today, but before the hopefuls hit the ice, they had to go through the ever-popular fitness testing this afternoon. Now, despite having to go through push-ups, pull-ups, and the beep test, they say they're happy to be back in the border city to kick off a new year.
It's pretty exciting, you know, even with having to do all this stuff, it's just part of it. But getting to see the guys again is pretty cool. And the good young kids coming in, I think it's exciting for everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Like, when I ended the hockey season, like, I definitely didn't want it to be over. Like, I just want to come back and start playing hockey already.
And once they take to the ice, everyone is expecting the camp to be a battle and very competitive.
Yeah, you know, even amongst us vets, we're all made aware that no one spots solid concrete here, so it's going to be healthy competition throughout, so I don't think you'll see an easy trial run this weekend.
We've added in every position from goaltending all the way through, so it's going to be a very good competitive camp, and there's going to be good young teams that kids that make this team.
Well, when you think of legendary broadcasters in sports, names like Foster Hewitt, Bob Colt, Tom Cheek, and Vince Scully come to mind. For Chuck Wagon Racing, there's no one like him. In the final edition of Inside the CPCA, Moses Woldu talks to legendary announcer Les McIntyre.
Horn sounds and the charge is underway. A quick start for Jamie Labicane.
His voice is as iconic to the sport of chuck wagons like Wrangler jeans and cowboy hats.
We're Nolan and Bob Jack Sheet Metal.
I'd always been involved with horses and race horses, so eventually started driving a wagon, and that lasted till 1983 when I had a bad wreck and broke my back, and I decided it was time to do something different for my life. I got into it through a little fun meet that Ward Willard put on down at his place, and wanted to know if I wanted to call the race and do the announcing, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. The following year, I had a couple of committees phone me and wanted to know if I wanted to get involved as an announcer, and that was the year I got out of auction school.
203, team number 342, and now 3 number 34, team number 443, and now 4.
And Les McIntyre's career was born, becoming the full-time voice of chuck wagon racing for nearly 30 years. Calling events from the WPCA, the CPCA, and of course,
Jason Glass is headed to the wire with his wheels on fire tonight.
the Calgary Stampede.
I'm curious to know how you come up with all these calls, because you have something witty to say, and it just engages those not just there, but also the ones watching on television. So where do you come up with them? And of course, the first one I have to ask you is,
The louder you cheer, the quicker we'll get here.
And I've always been kind of a rhymer. My wife and family are always getting on my case because every time I say something, I have fun with it, and I think that goes to auctioneering too. Everything is rhythm, and everything you say is rhythm, and a wagon race has its own rhythm and its own flow, and I like to stay with that flow.
Strung out like a freight train, and the engine is coming at you.
like, where did that come from?
I don't know. Like I say, in the back of my mind, I seen the picture of those wagons going down the backstretch somewhere, and it looked like a freight train.
Approaching from the rear at a high rate of equine acceleration.
I guess that's a fancy way of saying the horse is running fast.
A poet in his own right, Les's heart belongs to the track, making the half mile from hell sound like a place you want to be. As for life after chuck wagons, perhaps a book deal is in order.
One of my lines during a show, you know, something unusual happens, I always say, you know, someday I'm going to write a book. And I keep a diary of what I've done and where I've been, and each day, that sort of thing. I've always been fascinated by music, and I was a decent musician in my younger days. Songwriting's always appealed to me.
In the meantime, Les will continue singing the same old tune.
I hope I got 10 or 15 years left in me, and I mean, if I ever get to the point where I lose my passion for it and it's not fun anymore, I'll walk away. I'm here to keep the fans happy.
That's a wrap?
That's a wrap. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Moses Woldu, Newcap Sports.